because we're now up to 19 teams, maybe 19 with an asterisk, because there was a report that Texans players were going to not be at the voluntary offseason workouts, but there hasn't been that same statement we've seen from 19 other teams, all issued through the NFLPA, as to whether and to what extent their guys are going to be there. And some of them, Chris, like the Eagles, they make it clear none of our guys are going to be there. Others say many won't be there. Not roster bonus. I always say roster instead of workout. Workout bonus, a factor, because you've got to be there. You've got to physically be there in phase 1 and 2 and 3, all 3 phases, at least 90% of the time it typically is, to get your payment. The virtual participation available for your per diem, which is $275. You can go to the meetings virtually, but you got to be in the building to work out to get your workout bonus, at least the 90% of the total workouts. So, look, this continues to be an issue between the league and the union. I continue to believe it's not about the pandemic. I think it's about guys being upset about the last CBA, guys being upset about 17 games, veteran players not wanting to show up at all. Someone explained to me over the weekend, you got plenty of guys now who have their own personal workout routines that they think are superior to what the strength and conditioning coaches mete out when they show up for the offseason workouts, and they'd rather do it themselves. Odell Beckham Jr. has been doing that his whole career. He's got his own thing that he does. So, whatever it is, however it is, a lot of these guys just don't want to be there, and they're not going to be there, especially if they don't feel a compulsion because of a workout bonus or their roster spots in some sort of jeopardy.
No, I mean, yes. I mean, to all of that, and again, I mean, is it a necessity that they have to be there? No, it's not. It's definitely not. And, are there, of course, the day and age we're in right now, 2020 or 2021 with all the personal trainers and, of course, sports science being where it's at. I mean, it's not the necessity to have to be at the facility to grind it out every day like it used to be. But I still think that's like, again, we talked about it. It's not the workouts I'm necessarily all that worried about. It's the on-the-field football stuff. And that's the big thing. And listen, the other thing, too, with all of this, hey, it's great. Like, the Odell Beckham Jr.'s of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world, those guys, they're going to work. You're not worried about them. You're not. But there are other guys, of course, that you do have to worry about on an NFL roster. I mean, again, this is, to me, it's not the best avenue for the players as a whole. I don't. And I think you're right. I think the CBA, the 17-game year, the fact that the season went on last year, and, hey, it was a success. Of course it was. We watched. It was fun. There was a Super Bowl, all of that. I think players are looking at it like, okay, we made it done. We got it done. No big deal. And that's kind of their mindset here. And, you might get away with it for a certain time, but I don't know if that's going to help, all the players out in the NFLPA. That's for sure.
And to the extent that the union is trying to send a message to the owners, the reality is, and I've heard this from multiple folks over the past few days, the owners don't care. You know why they don't care, Chris? It's costing them no money.
Yeah.
They will still have a team come September. There will be 53 players, 46 in uniform. They will go play their games. It's up to the coach to make sure that the best complement of players is on the field. It's a thing that rankles the coaches because it makes it harder for them to teach if the players aren't there. But there's a compromise lurking, and the Packers have struck a tone that if other teams would do this, it possibly could solve it one team at a time. I think the Ravens also have offered this to the players. Basically, it's this. For phase 1, as long as you participate in the virtual meetings and have your own workout plan, you get credit toward your workout bonus. You don't have to work out in the facility during the 4 weeks of phase 1.
Yeah, okay.
For that 4 weeks, you're good to go wherever you are. We need you here for phase 2. We need you here for phase 3 to get your workout bonus. But for your workout bonus credit, and the Packers have $5 million in player workout bonuses, so this is a big issue for them. They've made it clear to their players, you can stay where you are for the first 4 weeks, participate in the meetings, get in your workout. It's all voluntary, and if you get injured, you're on your own. But we will treat you working out on your own as credit toward your workout bonus. I think that will go a long way toward getting guys, especially guys with workout bonuses, to find a way to thread that needle where they'll show up for phase 2 and phase 3 for the on-field stuff, and they'll stay home for the first 4 and do what they need to do to get themselves in shape. More teams should consider that. That could help kind of break this logjam.
I think that would be great. I think that would benefit all. I mean, I really do. I think that benefits organizations. It benefits the coaches. I think ultimately it benefits the players too. Yeah, okay, you get a little extra time to go about it, in the process, your own speed and pace. Yeah, I got to be there for the meetings, but the workouts are going to be on you, But then, yeah, we're going to come there, and you're going to have to be on the field a little bit. And, of course, we're going to evaluate what you've been like, working out. Are you in shape? Are you ready to go and do those type of things? Green Bay's always been a team that's had these things a part of their contracts because they want players to be there in the offseason. Green Bay is one of those teams where, a lot of the players, they're there during the season and they live somewhere else in the offseason. So this gets everybody back in the building doing that type of stuff. But, yeah, I would think this is a compromise that could be made, Mike. I mean, I guess I'm just still a little shocked that the players, want to be away so aggressively, so long, and not be on the field a little bit more for the OTAs and things like that.
Well, and you've said this in the past as it relates to the quality of the rehab services that a team has available to players, the difference in the training. And I don't want to speak ill of any of the NFL training staff, but you've pointed out a lot of these guys get better stuff on their own.
Right.
Stuff that's fully permissible within the realms of the PED policy, but they have better techniques, better strategies, better ways to address their physical problems on their own. So it would stand to reason that some of them are going to believe they've got better ways to get in shape, stay in shape, be in the shape they want to be in, doing their own thing, not whatever it is the strength and conditioning coach has thrown together for everyone. I don't know how personalized those workout plans are, but obviously when a guy goes and gets one on his own, it is intensely individualized to his needs, his desires, his objectives.
Yeah, no, it is. And listen, it's a positive thing. It is from that standpoint. As like a NFL football player, when you do train with your team, of course, it's 90 guys there. The strength and conditioning coach, he can't give 90 different workouts. So you're kind of lumped together with guys that have similar size, body mass, all those type of things. Yeah, O linemen and D linemen do a lot of the same exercises. Quarterbacks will kind of be placed together at times with wide receivers and running backs and all of that type of stuff. So, we're not exactly all the same type of athletes. So, yes, that's why a lot of football players, they like their own trainer and, their own physical rehab stuff because it's more to them. And, yes, the point still, NFL, rehab and all that is still behind, the 8 ball as far as technology and all that. To me, again, I'm not necessarily so worried about the workouts themselves, even though, again, I do worry about that. I'm not worried about the NFL superstars and the guys that are great players working out. But, the reason there are conditioning tests are because players have shown through the years that if you give them too much time off, they don't come back in condition, right? Because no one was there to put the hot poker on their butt to go let's go. We got to work. We got to do that. So there's that faction of the league you worry about, but ultimately it is the on-the-field work that's the most important. And I think it's the most important for the player, the team, the coaches, all of that, but most importantly, the player and those movements and techniques and doing that, and especially the young guys like we've talked about, Mike. And that to me is where, if I'm a player, there's no way you're keeping me off the field for OTAs and some of that stuff.
And that's where it's going to be, I think, challenging to define victory and defeat as it relates to this effort by the union. The union quite possibly will declare victory if players stay away from Phase 1. And then when Phase 2 and Phase 3 roll around, after the rookie minicamp, which is going to coincide with Phase 2, where you got 50 guys in the building, draft picks, undrafted free agents, tryout players, eligible second and third year players. For example, a Jordan Love in Green Bay will be eligible to participate in the rookie minicamp and get some reps that way. He's a guy who didn't get many reps at all last year. Once you see guys showing up for on-field work, I could see the players showing up and saying, we won because for 4 weeks of the offseason workout program, we held together, we stayed away, we boycotted this, we worked out on our own, and we're here for the things we need to be here for to help ourselves continue our preparation for the season, to learn the playbook, etc. That could be a way that the union tries to thread the needle to say we stood up to the man and we won, and now the game's over. Because for these OTAs, we were always going to be here for those. Now, that's a little disingenuous because they supposedly have concerns about being in the facility. So those concerns presumably would still exist for phase 2 and 3, but they really aren't. This whole pandemic thing is a pretext. This is a power play by the union. The pandemic is a convenient excuse to get the public on their side.
It seems
the pandemic it's a lie. The idea that they don't want to be there because of the pandemic is a flat-out lie. They don't care about the pandemic, and if you do, go get vaccinated. That's how you show that you care about the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I don't think that's really the reason either. I mean, the NFL, I think, made it pretty clear last week. You made it pretty clear towards the end of last week about the protocols and testing that was still going to be in place, for the player. So, while the environment out there is not perfect yet, it's still plenty safe. And, also, I'm with you in the fact that I think, again, the majority of these players are going to be training and doing things and putting themselves in way more dangerous, situations than they would be if they were going to a facility and being tested on a daily basis anyways. I don't think it's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to go to the facility. I'm going to work out on my own and make sure I, quarantine and don't go near anybody during my workouts here during this whole time period. There's no way that's going to happen. Guys are going to work out together and not be wearing masks and be around each other and not even really be caring about the pandemic when it comes to working out. So, I think that's a total BS excuse from the NFLPA right now.
One last point, and then we'll take a break. I can't help but wonder whether some coaches will take a be careful what you wish for approach to some of the veteran players that they believe don't want to be there, and maybe spend a little extra time scrutinizing the younger guys, a little more time developing a younger guy, a little more time making that leap of faith that we can keep the guy who's making $700,000 and dump the guy who's due to make $7 million. I think that's the risk here, that you piss the coach off.
Sure.
And even though it's all voluntary, they can't do or say anything to suggest it's not. Well, when it comes time to pick who's on the final roster, that's when they get their revenge, even if it's served a little bit cold.
I don't disagree with you there. I don't. The economics, that says something about it, certainly. And will that motivate coaches to close maybe the talent gap or the knowledge gap for that guy like you're talking about who is making $800,000 a year, to motivate him to get that guy to compete with the guy who's making, $5 or $6 million a year and maybe take his spot? Yeah, I think there's going to be some of that. It is going to piss coaches off. Coaches, you've been around them enough. They're old school. That's the way they think. Oh, you don't want to be here? All right, well, he must not love football that way. They're going to have that thought. That's the way they think. They're not the same, they're a little psycho that way. So I think it will hurt some of these veteran players that stay away in certain situations.
I just had a vision of your guy, Johnny Gruden, walking into the locker room and no one there. And all the profanities that will emerge from his pie hole when he sees that they all decided, because they're one of the 19 teams. They're all gone. Your team's not here. John, you're already upset you don't have access to them from January to April. April's here. You can have access to them, and they ain't here. The only way you have access to them is through your laptop.
Guys don't want to work anymore. I don't even know if they love football. I mean, geez, what year are we in? That's something like that is what he'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing on workout bonuses, and then we'll take our break, I've been promising it for 3 minutes, but I could see more teams using the workout bonuses on a widespread basis going forward to nip this problem in the bud. Because the 4 teams that have heavy workout bonuses, Jaguars, Chiefs, Bills, Packers, they're not even getting squeezed by the union to have their guys stay away. So when it's time to negotiate these contracts, and that's the way the agents can solve this problem too. Well, the team said this is what it's got to be. It's got to be $500,000 workout bonus. They don't want to put it in salary. They don't want to put it in a roster bonus. It's got to be a workout bonus. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
And then that's that. And it's resolved then. And that way, then everybody's hands are tied. They're going to have to show up to get their money.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.